YouTube is up. Share to a friend's profile. Okay, Bert, you've got it now.
All righty. Turn on the recording.
And hold on. One more. I got to do Eileen's also. And Eileen's got it now. And now I am back. And here comes Turn on the Recording. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you, too. So it's 3:00, and as soon as Eileen comes back, there she is. Okay. Welcome to Any Sunday Songwriters. Long ago, before the pandemic, this used to be Second Sunday Songwriters at a place nearby to me here in Austin, Texas, called Kick Butt Coffee, because the guy who owns it also owns the martial arts studio next door. And when the pandemic started, it took me about 5 minutes to figure out that I was no longer limited to the second Sunday of each month. I could do it any Sunday I wanted, hence the name. And that I was also not limited to people who were in or passing through Austin. Consequently, my guests today are Bert Lee, who resides in Brooklyn. And it is winter there, and his wife just went by all bundled up. I remember those days. It's the reason I now live in Texas. And in Florida, you can find Eileen Kozloff, who is here with us. And I'm really excited about today's show. So, Bert, would you like to kick us off?
I would be delighted to do so.
Great.
All righty. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. I'm going to start off with some songs from a cowboy cycle of tunes that I've been working on for a number of years now. That's about to culminate in a recording and an online show called Butterfly Songs of the Haunted Prairie, which is pretty much what it sounds like is what it is. And oddly enough, the second song you're about to hear is called Calamity Jane, and my wife is right now in a play about Calamity Jane, which is what inspired me to write that. So of all the songs you'll hear tonight, it's the newest song. Other than that, I will also jump around and play different styles too, just to confuse things. But this is Butterfly and Calamity Jane. I have a little pony with star drops in her eyes. Her coat is black as Chinese silk, a saddle she denies. I ride her in the valley where the river water's sweet. She drinks it like a lady and she prances with her feet. The eagle on the wing is chasing shadows in the sun, and lightning doesn't stand a chance when you see my pony run. Her mane flies out like fire when she's running with the wind. I know she'll never throw me, 'cause that pony is my friend. I started out in Dallas, since that's where I was raised. Took up a life of gambling, and all my luck be praised. Went out to California, where the streets were paved with mud. I bought a pair of pistols, and I learned to drive on blood. I shot a man in anger over something that he said. I had to give up gambling when the gold turned into lead. I left all that behind me, and I'm a running with the wind. And and I know they'll never find me, 'cause that pony is my friend. I was heading out from Reno, but the desert got too big. I lost all my provisions and all of my water dried. My pretty little pony fell down and broke a leg. I sent her to her maker and I laid down by her side. The buzzard on the wing is chasing circles in the sand, and a man cries out for water who's got diamonds in his hand. Now I come to higher ground where the river's just begun, and I climb up on the mountaintop and watch my pony run. I have a little pony with star drops in her eyes. Her coat is black as Chinese silk, and I call her Butterfly. I ride her in the valley where the river water is sweet. She drinks it up like champagne wine and prances with her feet. I ride her in a hilly land where the river's just begun, and I climb up on the mountaintop and watch my pony run. Calamity Jane comes down from the hills like the thunder in the rain, a 6-gun goddess, 5 bullets shy. No one can tell if her life is a lie. Comes down from the hills like the wild night wind. Everybody knows her, but she hasn't got a friend. She's got a room upstairs in the Deadwood Bar. A dime novel hero and a rodeo star. Shoots down dreams like bottles on a shelf, standing at the mirror and talking to herself. Jane, tall as a crane, who can believe and who can explain if her life is a legend or the legend is a lie? She shoots her pistol at the stars in the sky. She rode with General Crook at Rosebud Hill. She shot like the devil, but she never made a kill. There's no need to kill him when the hard times will. She rode in the circus just to give them a thrill, standing up in the saddle, never took a spill, but they only came to see old Buffalo Bill. Ah, Jane, tall as a crane, lying in bed with a fever in her brain, trying to sort out all the things she did from the things she didn't and the things she hid. What is the truth and what is the lie? She shoots her pistol at the stars in the sky. She shoots her pistol at the stars in the sky.
That was lovely.
Well,
And
thanks.
that was from the show that your wife is
The
doing?
second song was based on the life of Calamity Jane. Now, I submitted that song to the company that's putting on the show, but they only want to use modern music. So they're doing disco music for Calamity Jane. It's a young person's thing. What can you say? But it inspired me to write that, which I'm
Hey,
pretty, I'm
that's not
pretty
a bad
happy with
thing.
that. That's for sure. So one more song from that.
Actually, Bert, we're supposed to do this in the round. So
I
that
didn't in Zinga Shinga Wawa. I didn't realize that. I thought it was bleep, bleep, and bleep. Instead, it's bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah.
Okay, Elaine, I'm dying to hear you.
Hi. Well, after listening, I was going to start with something on the piano from Pandemic Life, but after listening to your Western songs, I'm going to play something different for you that I have written. And it sort of has a Western theme to it, I think. It's called Under the Moon Tonight. In fact, I started to write this on my way back from Texas after being in Austin and doing a little bit of a Texas tour a couple years back. He's leathered and weathered, each mark on his face proudly won. Eating day-old fried chicken, licking lips cracked by the sun. By the fire untired, he takes joy in a job that's well done. Safely driven the herd, with unspoken words he thanks God he never needed his gun. Under the moon tonight, counting his blessings and stars, in the comfort of heaven, with his dog, horse, and saddle, they all get along as one. And you know he'll be dreaming of the home he was leaving on the first blush of the sun. And though he goes far, home's wherever they are, and they're always right here in his heart. Each day he keeps saying, wish I were staying, but that's just not part of the plan. With 4 kids and a wife and a ranch in his life, he labors as hard as he can. He's built fences and pens to hold livestock in, tries to keep harm at bay. He's raised kids that are strong to know right from wrong. They all go to church on Sunday. And when he's able, he takes his place at the table in the presence of all his loved ones. When silence is heard, with unspoken words he thanks God he never needed his gun. Under the moon tonight, counting his blessings and stars, in the company of cattle, with his dog, horse, and saddle, they all get along as one. And you know he'll be dreaming of the home he was leaving at the first blush of the sun. Though he goes far, home's wherever they are, and they're always right here in his heart. They're always right here in his heart.
That's really lovely.
And well sung, too, by the way. So I don't have anything specifically Western, but I wrote this on the way back from Houston, which is a nice long East Texas drive. The way I see it, everything east of Austin is East Texas, and everything west of Austin is West Texas. I'm sure that doesn't line up with anybody else's view of the map, because not everybody in Texas is in Austin. Imagine that. We get a fairly large dose of that every election. When you're hanging by a thread and you're in danger of falling and no one seems to notice, I'll be the one who hears you calling, and I'll be on my way before your thread can fray. When you're hanging by a thread, I'll be your safety net. And if you're running out of time, and if your pockets are empty, and no one seems to believe in you, for you, I'll always have plenty. When you've nothing up your sleeve, you can always count on me. When you're running out of time, I'll be your credit line. I'll be your soothing balm. I'll be your cooling water. I'll be your sister, your brother, and most of all, I'll be your friend. And all you can do is cry, and your nights are sleepless, and no one understands why. I'll be the one who helps pick up the pieces when all the notes go wrong, and you can't even sing your own song when all you can do is cry. I'll be your lullaby. I'll be your rising hope. I'll be your rock of faith. I'll be your melody, harmony. Most of all, I'll be your friend. I'll be your soothing balm. I'll be your cooling water. I'll be your sister, your brother, and most of all, I'll be your friend. I'll be your sister, your brother, and best of all, I'll be your friend. Thank you. So we'll just keep doing that round and round until our time is up.
Down she goes.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom, and I was reading the magazine by the Toilet, and I came upon a picture of everybody's favorite folk singer, and he was didn't have a guitar and a harmonica as you would expect, or a scowl on his face. In fact, what he had was a welding torch in his hand and a welding helmet on his head, and it turns out that Mr. Dillon, aside from writing songs, likes to make giant metal sculptings, which he sells, I'm sure, at a premium price to hotel lobbies. And it struck me that that's kind of a metaphor for the way he writes his songs, and that's how this song came into existence, which is called Salt for Silver. And just on a side note, I am selling an entire portfolio of my songs for $450 million. So, you know, just be sure to drop me a line in the chat stream if you're interested. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies are things that I have made. I've woven them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I'll give you salt for silver unless you offer gold. Gonna build a big machine, a mechanical collage. Gonna build it in the workshop in the back of my garage. It's gonna be a wild contraption made of cogs and wheels and gears and discarded bits of everything I've gathered through the years. And when it gets to rolling, it's gonna make an awesome sound, like thunder in the mountains or an earthquake underground. When I'm done, they're gonna ask me, Bob, just what does that thing do? And I will turn around and ask them, man, well, what's it do for you? Gonna write a crazy song, not sure what it's gonna mean. Might be plain, might be a puzzle, might be something in between. Gonna populate the verses with people from my dreams. It might point to something deep, or maybe just be what it seems. And when I get to singing it, it's gonna make an awesome noise. I really can't be bothered by the folks my voice annoys. When I'm done, they're gonna beg me, please explain that thing to me. And I will turn around and tell them, man, it's nothing you can't see. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their backs. I'm gonna write an epic novel, a mountain range of prose. It might turn the tide of history or turn all of my friends to foes. It's gonna be a wild concoction made of thoughts and words and prayers. There might be nothing underneath when you peel away the layers. Oh, if I fail in that ambition, I'm gonna put away my pen, put on ordinary clothes, and go and walk the world of men. Gonna look in all their faces at the stories in their eyes, in hopes that all the misery I see there makes me wise. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their backs, who got waylaid in the city by the beatniks and the clowns, and the grief that always comes to you from mixing ups and downs, who tried his hand at Jesus but then suffered a relapse and had to rebuild his ideas from all these bits and scraps. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies are things that I have made. I've woven them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I'll give you salt for silver unless you offer gold.
I love that. I'll give you a song for silver unless you offer gold. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Eileen, you're going to need to unmute before you play.
Saying that I think he might get the salt for silver faster than he would $425 billion for his catalog, but he could try. So when I heard Jan singing about something that had threads in it, I thought, oh my goodness, I'll pair that with this. And this is called Threads. Wrote this a little while ago. It's on the last CD that I recorded, and called Just Words. Stitch by stitch and row by row, I'm unraveling this fabric we wove, one by one and two by two, over and under until there's no you, over and under until there's no you. Fray the fibers watch this fabric shred apart. Once woven tight, cross warp and weft, love is gone, now there's nothing left. Stitch by stitch and row by row, I'm unraveling this fabric we wove, one by one and two by three, over and under until there's just me, over and under until there's just me. And fragile threads are stretched too thin, the light of day floods right in, and truth slips through so easily, lies exposed for all to see. Stitch by stitch and row by row, I'm unraveling this fabric we wove, one by one and three by four, over and under until we're no more, over and under until we're no more. Tattered, shorn threads lay bare, once entwined with love and care. Single strands dangle free, where two was one, now there's just me. Stitch by stitch and row by row, I'm unraveling this fabric we wove, one by one and two by three, over and under, over and under, over and under, until there's just me.
How beautiful, Eileen. One does so love a good sad song.
Oh, I was born in the sad key, you know that.
I was apparently born under an optimistic star, and I always think things are going to get better, and people get sick of hearing me talk about it. So I don't have another one with threads in it. I do have a sad love song or two, but I want to do this one. So I don't know what to say about this one, so I'm not going to say anything. You'll understand why when you hear it. I will say that I'm a big fan of those science books that are written to a layman's level, so that when you finish reading it, you feel like you know something, but you still don't really know anything. That was pretty much, this was the result of one of those. In the fifth dimension, I can see right through you. I can hear you thinking. I can think back to you. I'll be all around you. I'll even be within you. Come to think about it, might have even been you in the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, out where hyperspace is, we can hear the angels singing, look into their faces, but no one else can find us, so we'll go undetected. And if we should die, why, we'll be resurrected in the fifth dimension. Come swing through past and future like a pendulum. Leave your maps and clocks behind, it's a space-time continuum. The stars will be our companions, and the galaxies. We could be so free to the nth degree. maps and clocks behind. It's a space-time continuum. The stars will be our companions, and the galaxies. We could be so free to the nth degree. And in the fifth dimension, at the speed of light, we'll fly. All the locks will open, all the knots untie. There'll be no confusion. We'll finally get the meaning and escape the illusion like spiritual Houdinis in the fifth dimension.
That's
Thank you.
great.
Had to reach
I
for
really
that last
like
note
it.
over there, huh?
Well, it's
I
not
like-
on this keyboard.
There you go.
I like the instrumentation too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, nice harmonic lines. Very pretty.
Thanks.
You gals are wonderful. I got to tell you, you're just both blowing my mind.
Well, you're blowing mine.
Likewise.
My lid is lifted to you.
Mind blown.
The
Before
funny
we
thing-
move on, I'd like to say hello to Marcia Kaplan and Debbie Joy Lundgren and let's see, who else? Hold on. Lauren Davidson and Daniel Senny and everybody who's here. And Rick, I want you to know I did that song specifically for you because of what you said to me the last time we met. So now you know. Okay.
What did I say that elicited that?
You said, I'm hearing the same songs more than once.
Oh, that. Well, fantastic. Keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you. So now we can move on. I just wanted him to know that his comment bore fruit.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes.
Looking dumbly at the mic. I just wanted to say, Elaine, I wrote a short story just about a month ago called Warp and Weft.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
And to your thing, Jan, it's a short story about a rug that is so perfect. It's a Persian rug. It's too perfect that no real Persian would ever buy it because, it offends Allah. And it's bought by some hippies in an East Village pad, and it drives them mad because when they try to compare it to the world they live in, it doesn't work.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to read that.
Yeah, me too.
In the fifth dimension.
In the fifth dimension, yes. There you go. All right, this is a story about my neighborhood here in New York when we first moved here in Gravesend, Brooklyn, which is all the way up by Coney Island. It's a predominantly Italian neighborhood. My wife is predominantly Italian, like 100% Sicilian. And me, I'm Irish, so what do I know about anything? And we enjoyed it. I like multicultural neighborhoods. But pretty quickly, the neighborhood started to be bought up by the Han Chinese, and they ended up buying entire buildings, and sadly enough, chasing out the people that lived there and moving their families in. Now, I'm comfortable with Chinese people. Believe me, I am. I grew up studying Tai Chi, and I can speak a smattering of Chinese, and when I, read a fortune cookie, I eat the cookie right afterward, which shows you how deeply invested in Chinese culture I am. That's it right there. So I decided I had to overcome any misgivings I had about these people, and I wrote this song, which is called Water Everywhere. Our old Italian neighborhood has turned Chinese maybe for good. Water, water everywhere. The ghetto has been gentrified. The first folks have been pushed aside. Doesn't matter if it's fair. It's the same thing everywhere. The Indians who once lived here, they made their trade in hunting deer. Water, water everywhere. They made a bargain with the Dutch that really didn't leave them much. Oh, but the Dutchmen didn't care. Money, money everywhere. Now the hippies have all moved upstate, and the hipsters came to take their place. Maybe the only difference is the hair. And the little shops you could afford to shop in once, they now are boarded. But the building owners, they don't care. It's the same thing everywhere. Well, the water just goes where it will. You know it always flows downhill. Rivers running everywhere. And who are you and I to kid? It just does what it always did. Just goes where it's meant to be, flowing till it finds the sea. Water, water everywhere. Now the music clubs have all shut down, and New York is a rich man's town. It doesn't matter if it's fair. And the only music that remains is while you're waiting for the trains. You can tip them if you care. So much free music everywhere. Well, the money just goes where it must. It's all about the boom or bust. Buddy, have you got a dime to spare? And who are you and I to kid? It settles for the lowest bid. The bottom line is where it goes. That's just the way the money flows. Doesn't matter if it's fair. Now in my new Chinese neighborhood, the people that I meet are good. It's the same thing everywhere. No matter where they come from, friend, they're only people in the end. It's not their fault they had to settle there. People, people everywhere. People trying just to be everywhere like you and me, like water flow into the sea, going where we're meant to be. Water, 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 water everywhere.
What an insightful song.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Beautifully written.
Thank you.
Man, there may be lots of free music
Beautiful.
around, but I come here because there's music from the heart.
Thank you, Rick.
So, since I think some of you thought some of the songs I sang were a little depressing, I didn't think that was a depressing song. I thought coming back to me is a pretty good thing in this day and age. But this is another side of love, and it's a happy side, and it's called Heart's Back Door. Make me come unglued. One touch shook my body by surprise. I had my doubts, I didn't know what love's about, till lightning struck me from your eyes. Lordy me, oh Lordy, 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 my love is back door. Wish I had a crystal ball, wanted a call, searching and seeking some advice. If I fell in love with you, would it show me to be true? Would it warn me, honey, best think twice? Lordy me, oh Lordy, Lordy, Lordy my, love is overtaking me for sure. Lordy me, oh Lordy, Lordy, Lordy my, love has found my heart through my back door. Well, I heard that it's been said, when you stop looking, you are dead. But honey, you've had lovers by the score. Let's get one thing right, if you're in my kitchen tonight, don't be cooking with no one else no more. Lordy me, oh Lordy, Lordy, Lordy my, love is overtaking me for sure. Lordy me, oh Lordy, Lordy, Lordy my, love has found my heart through my back door. Love has found my heart through my back door. Thank you.
Well, yes, that was happier.
It wakes up the dead.
It's your sixth sense song. I'm going to go with people moving in and moving out. We have a pretty specific problem here in Austin, which is we have way more people than anybody planned for, and more coming all the time. And one of my friends, and she and her husband have a real estate agency for Keller Williams is who they theoretically work for, but she seems pretty independent to me. And I was talking with her about the housing situation, and she said, this was maybe 3-4 months ago, that currently there were 125 available single-family homes in Austin. And because we're getting such a huge influx of population from elsewhere, the demand was something like 1,000 a week. So, needless to say, the developers are scurrying around looking for things to develop and convincing people that they need to move off their land so that it can be used that way. And this song was written from a prompt, and the prompt was find a story in the newspaper, which we don't get, but 2 days a week, and that's mainly so that Andy will have the crossword puzzle. And it's the Austin Statesman, and if you live here, you know why we don't get it. But the story I found online was this gentleman talking about how they were trying to move him off his land. And this is what he had to say about it. My daddy really loved this land. I'd feel I was betraying him if I was the one to let it go. He used to say if you had pliers and a roll of baling wire, why, you could fix most anything that broke. Well, family history's big for me. Great-great-granddad, born in slavery when he was freed. He came to Texas, bought this land, was saved up gold. His descendants each have owned it. I don't propose to be the one to lose it. So it's not for sale. The land is not for sale. The city needs more houses, so I understand. But Papa Collins' land is not for sale. I'm leaving it to my granddaughter. I want to do that for her, 'cause she lost her dad when she was only 5. I like to think that he is watching and happy with these things I'm doing, like he'd do if he was alive. And it's not for sale. The land is not for sale. The city needs more houses, so I understand. But Papa Collins' land is not for sale. She can be anything she wants to be, write her own future. She will keep the land and story going for those who come after. And it's not for sale. This land is not for sale. The city needs more houses. That I understand, but Papa Collins' land is not for sale. The city needs more houses. Yes, I understand, but Papa Collins' land is not for sale. My daddy really loved this land. I'd feel I was betraying him if I was the one to let it go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good song, good topic too. You know, I'm in the same situation you are. Everybody's coming here. Our infrastructure is groaning. It's been like that for the last 2 years. It's just gotten to be really massive. It reminds me sometimes of when you go to a festival and you're early and you put your tent in and you know where your tent is, and then eventually you wake up one morning and you have no idea where you are because you're surrounded. And that's kind of how I feel. And like the good news is I'm in the middle of everything. The bad news is I'm in the middle of everything.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
And
Sounds about right. Well, we're all being very thematically tied together here. This is good. Apparently, we're singing about money and people.
For now, yeah.
Seems to be the thing. I guess we have a few more songs apiece, right? It's just, we close what in 20 minutes or something like that.
Oh no.
Oh, hour and a half.
Um,
I always
yeah.
get confused about the time zones.
We close. We have another hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, well then I'm going to sing my rendition of "Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands."
Okay.
Okay, this is a song about money, and it began starring my grandfather. That's how I got started on this song, because my grandfather, and I'm not talking about my great-grandfather, I'm talking about my grandfather, went out west during the Civil War at the age of 13 and got involved in had a very short and unsuccessful career as a stagecoach robber. Let's just say he tried to steal the wrong money from the wrong stagecoach, and he ended up with 2 satchels full of Confederate money, because, you know, they made that out in Colorado. Came back east after all of the adventure with nothing to show but all this Confederate money. So I started writing this song based on that, but by the time I got to the second verse, it just turned into a bittersweet rant about the socioeconomic zeitgeist. Thank you. It's called The Money Isn't Real. Ha! My grandpa was a grifter, a gambler and a heel. He snuck around from town to town and dealt a dirty deal. He went out in the wild world to steal what he could steal. You know he stole a fortune, but the money wasn't real. No, the money wasn't real. Funny how it is, you know now, the money wasn't real. He set out as a bandit, he came back empty-handed. He should have been a rich man, but the money wasn't real. Now the Pharaoh was a miser, and his story has been told. He had 10,000 workers build a pyramid to hold all his statues and his trappings and his caskets and his gold. He wanted to have everything, but all he got was old, 'cause none of it was real. Funny how it is, you know now, none of it was real. His monument so grand just got covered up by sand, and now he's just another mummy, man, 'cause none of it was real. Now a poor man buys a loaf of bread and he shares it and it's gone. A rich man wrecks his portion, yet his wealth keeps rolling on. And the good things that you've said and done are nothing you can pawn. 'Cause when you're in the underclass, you're always overdrawn, 'cause the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now, the money isn't real. You can follow all the rules made by idiots for fools, and you think you'll get your just reward, but you won't. You won't pick up a penny, you might spare a dime. A dollar buys a pretty meager way to waste your time. A C note gets you groceries, and a grand might buy a thrill. You might rake in a shitload and still not get your fill. Hey, I live in America, a country built on greed, and I suppose that's not a bad thing if you just take what you need. But it seems everyone's afflicted by a hunger to exceed. Why should one man have a billion when there's a million mouths to feed? 'Cause the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now, the money isn't real. You can burn it, you can earn it, but you'll find that in the end it all amounts to nothing. Now I bought me some insurance in case I pass away. I've heard that that could happen, and who am I to say? I might live forever, oh, then they'd never have to pay. Shit, who would be the loser then if it all turned out that way? Because the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now, the money isn't real. You can spend it, you can lend it, but you'll find that in the end it all amounts to nothing. Yes, it's funny how it all amounts to nothing. So funny how it all amounts to nothing, 'cause the money isn't.
I
Let
love
be a
that.
lesson to you. Let it be a lesson to you all.
Yeah. You know, I hear some touches of Willie Nelson and, and Bob Dylan, and just some of the phraseology a little of Willie.
Don't let the hair throw you, or
I
the
think the hair
or the years of
does.
smoking too much pot. I mean, those, they just.
No, but really great. I love your placement of your lyrics with your accompaniment. That's fab.
Well, bless you. Coming from what you sound like, that's just really a compliment.
So this has nothing to do with money. It's another happy love song, I think. And I used to live in a Pennsylvania farmhouse. It was circa 1820s with an 1860 edition. And it was on, and then I put on a 2000 edition to it. And it was on Garriston Road. And I wrote this song and just called it Garriston Waltz. Oh, we dance in the moonlight, molasses slow. Our bodies locked tightly, we dare not let go of this moment, this movement, warm passion's delight, rocking in sync to the heat of the night. Take me up a little higher. You've ignited my soul. Come and quench my desire. Love's coupled with treason always seeks to break free, but we're bound without chains, you and me. Oh, we dance in the moonlight, molasses slow. Our bodies locked tightly, we dare not let go of this moment, this movement, warm passion's delight, rocking in sync to the heat of the night. Bury me deep, oh, in your loving arms. Drown me beneath all your wit and your charms. And take me to places where I've never been. Let's make love over again. Oh, we dance in the moonlight, molasses slow. Our bodies locked tightly, we dare not let go of this moment, this movement, warm passion's delight, rocking in sync to the heat of the night.
Lovely. I love the way you play your auto harp. It's different than others.
Yeah, that style, it just sort of emerged, and that is my style of auto harp playing. It's not traditional for sure.
Nope, it's not, and I like it better.
Well, thank you.
So I'm going to change our roles and do my heartbreak song. Every now and then I dream of you again. from time to time. Why, I'll never know. It was so long ago. You were mine. Like a treasure lost, like a secret told, a glitter in the dust, a glow among the coals, a shiver of regret. Every now and then I dream of you again. Like a hurricane, you struck and changed everything I thought I knew. You were my earth and sky, you filled my day and night. I believed in you. Passionate and brief, our tempest of a song, melody so sweet, harmony so wrong. Such was our duet. But every now and then I hum that tune again. You ran away, you didn't even say goodbye. Were you afraid? You know, I used to pray your lie would come true. Somehow you'd love me too. But yes, I did move on after you had gone, and I was done grieving. And I found again a lover and a friend I could believe in. Ah, but autumn-colored hair, a pair of moody eyes, a tilted smile will make me look twice at someone I've never met. Every now and then, every now and then, yes, every now and then I dream of you again.
Wow, beautiful song.
Yes,
Thank you.
lovely.
Wow.
Oh, lovely.
That's great.
Thank you. I think everybody has one of those in their history somewhere if they've lived long enough.
I'll offer up one of a similar nature.
Okay.
It's called Win Back Your Love. After all this time, do I have to tell you I'm not guilty of the crimes you accuse me of? What do I have to do to win back your love? If I had to do it all again, would I even be just one whit wiser? Oh, probably not. You have to live with what you've got. My hands are empty now, and I'm really not too sure just how we'll ever make amends. Is this the way our story ends? Lovers once, now barely friends. If you asked me why, well, I guess I'd have to try some awkward alibi. You open wide. Still I cannot see inside your guarded space. If you won't turn to face me, if I had to do it all again, would I even be just one whit wiser? Oh, probably not. What do I have to do to win back your love? Why did I have to go and put myself above you? Darling, what do I have to do to win back your love? Why did I have to go put myself above you, darling?
Beautiful.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep wowing. All right. Am I up?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, actually, while we've got the little space, the time has come to ask this burning question. Eileen, where are you going to be next, and where can people find you online?
Oh, well, where I'm going to be next, actually, my song "No More War Anymore" is a finalist, and I'm going to be online at the awards ceremony for that. There's 10 of us. That's happening this week. Performance-wise, I really don't know at this moment where else I'm going to be, but you can reach me at ekozloff2@gmail.com. That's one way if you want to personally reach out to me. If not, I'm eileenkozloff.com.
And the award is being given by?
It's being given by Songs for Peace, I believe
Oh,
that's
how
what
nice.
it's called. So, you know,
Perfect.
when I was young, not only did I want to be Bob Dylan, I wanted to be Joan Baez. And at that point, my hair was never straight enough. And but I really wanted to be her. So I have said to some friends, this is the closest I've come to being recognized for peace and justice with some of my writing.
I think that's lovely.
So I am excited.
And Bert, how about you? Where are you going to be next, and where can people find you online?
I just posted into the chat stream two spots they can find me online. My songs get parked at bandcamp.com under bertlee.bandcamp.com. And I usually have 2 or 3 albums up there, including my most recent album, which is called Swimming in Falling Water, which is a really nicely produced album put together by a friend of mine, Dan Simpson, from Asheville, North Carolina. As far as where I'm playing next, I'm playing on the, oh my gosh, it's the 17th of this month at the Irish Arts Center.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
And that's in Brooklyn.
That's no, it's actually here in Manhattan. It's on 11th Avenue and 53rd Street, all the way over where the tugboats wail. And it's a very, very nice, it's an outfit called, I'm sorry, I get word finding problems sometimes. Big City Folk, run by a wonderful character named Niall Connolly, who is just the greatest promoter of songwriting I've ever encountered. He usually runs 3 or 4 open mics and 2 or 3 showcases and works his ass off to make sure that all of the fine songwriters he gathers under him, everyone gets a chance at playing somewhere in this, as I mentioned earlier, kind of falling apart scene. Niall is a godsend. So he gives us featured nights, and I'll be doing that night. I'll be playing probably about a 40-minute set. And the nice thing about that is that whenever I play for Niall, I feel guilty unless I write at least 2 or 3 new songs for it. So I'll be popping up there with 2 or 3 new songs.
That's
Also,
great.
I can be found online. My novels. I'm very, very proud of the books I've written. I started writing them before the pandemic occurred, and it was a family history. And the family history is called The River Lee, because obviously Lee, and starts with my grandfather's story that I mentioned a little earlier during the Civil War, and then the second edition of that is my father and mother's story as expats living in Mexico and Central America before and during World War II, And the third book of that is called Searching for a Reasonable God, and it's my story told with a little touch of science fiction in it.
Cool.
Yeah, and I have a collection of short stories called White Gallery, and if you like the way I write, I've been actually hacking away at the prose for quite some time, and people tell me it's quite readable. So you can find those books right at the link that I just posted in the chat stream at
Great.
KDP Books.
Great. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay. Now that we've taken care of that, Eileen, what you got for us? I just have to do it at a certain time or I forget to do it at all.
This song is a triptych. It raises some questions, and it's germane to today. Topical, I guess that's the way we would say that. It's called Asunder. In between two rows of corn, a lovely flower stood. A farmer stopped to ponder, asked which one does more good. To fuel the body, feed the soul, which brings us more delight, and helps us sing away the days, or sleep at peace at night. When we fall asunder, we will be plowed under. The leaves, seeds, people, the feet, all rolled into one. Scattered here and scattered there, and sprinkled by the gentle air, we will surely meet somewhere underneath God's golden sun. Beside the wrecked cars, two broken bodies lie. Rescue team ponders who will live, who will die, and who is more important, the husband or the wife. Just ask their grieving families if they could bear to lose one life. When we fall asunder, we will be plowed under. The leaves, seeds, people, the feet, all rolled into one. Scattered here and scattered there, and sprinkled by the gentle air, we will surely meet somewhere underneath God's golden sun. Eyes closed, hands clasped, we bow to deities. Makes us all wonder, which prayer does God receive? And which book does he favor best, Old Testament or New? Who do you think God loves the best, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jew? When we fall asunder, we will be plowed under. The leaves, seeds, people, the feet, all rolled into one. Scattered here and scattered there, and sprinkled by the gentle air, we will surely meet somewhere underneath God's golden sun.
Marvelous.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Which one does God like better, the Old Testament or the New? Yeah. So my answer to that question is the next place I will be corporeally is at Kickbutt Coffee on February 12th, and my guests will be Melinda Brooks, and who is from here in Austin, I believe. She may be out in the country somewhere. And Laura Marie, who is coming up from San Antonio to bless us with songs, which I'm entirely grateful for. I was telling everybody that's playing today, Bert and Eileen, that I am always grateful and a little surprised when people say yes when I ask them. So, but it's mostly grateful. My next one of these is on February 26th, and I will have the fabulous Laura Zucker, who has just released a new album, and so she'll be talking about that some. And Bill Edwards, who I met online, he's in Ann Arbor, and the reason that we met was because Annie Capps, who used to run Folk Alliance Region Midwest, but has given that up to somebody else in the last year or so. She has this song critique circle on Monday evenings, and I've been attending. And they've been invited, as has Ann Heaton and a couple of other people. And Bill is going to be with me on the 26th. And Eileen, is there a problem?
No, I was just going to add that except for the last couple months, I've been part of Annie's circle for a long time.
Oh,
so
okay.
I know Bill really well. Yes,
Okay,
and Annie
good.
too. And I was up at Farm recently.
Oh, good. I wasn't there this year.
This was just her last year. I didn't know you were going, so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the places that I regularly visit
Yeah.
those are the farm regions I go to.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
them. They're my
So,
peeps.
Anyway,
Okay.
it's going to be Laura and Bill on the 26th. And you can find me online at janseides.com. It's spelled the way you see it in that little box right there. Right there. And I have all of these albums. They're there. And a couple of shirts and jewelry made from my guitar strings by Kathy Miller of Love and Life Art. And come explore, come visit. If you'd like to be on the mailing list for these shows, please put your name and your email in the chat, and I'll be happy to make sure that you find out who's going to be doing what, where, when, why. And in the meantime, what did I plan to do? I don't remember, so I'll just make it up as I go along. Hold on 1 second. There are a number of my friends who have tried to convince me over time that primitive us was somehow less intelligent than current us. And this song argues that perhaps they were more intelligent. I know I have never bought into that. I always believed that people were just as smart, but, some of the things we can do now have to do with technology, not to do with intelligence. And we could use a little of their intelligence currently. Let me show you the caves of Lascaux, where horses horses and deer and buffalo dance across the walls and the ceilings and the arches above. Ancient and sacred, a gift from the artist's hands. Come with me back to a time when we were young. Follow the herds from an African sun and to the caves where they all freely run. And the artist traced his hand in the caves of Lascaux. Here in our 21st century myth, we all think we live by some God-given plan, and all life on earth is for our benefit, ours for the taking, as fast as we can. But come with me back to a time when we were young. Follow the herds from an African sun and to the cave where they all freely run. And the artist traced his hand in the caves of Lascaux. Come kneel in the torchlight, come bow your head, give thanks to your brothers, by whose grace you will be fed. And come with me back to the time when we were young. Follow the herd from an African sun and to the caves where they all freely run. And the artist traced his hand in the caves of Lascaux. Thank you.
I've been there.
Have you?
Oh,
I
yeah.
have not.
It's a spooky feeling.
I'll bet.
It's a downright spooky feeling. You know, you feel suddenly connected to something that happened 75 generations, 80 generations, 90 generations ago. Though, you know, it's really more recent than we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
There
time
was
is-
somebody that speculated scientifically that the original viewers of these be- I don't know what to call them, drawings, that they were actually, the reason they look like they do is because they were designed to be viewed by torchlight so that they moved,
right,
kind
in
of
the
like
flick-
movies.
in the flickering light. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That is
And
interesting.
it was clinched when they found a popcorn concession by the entrance to the cave, and that settled the entire
I
issue
knew
for
it. I knew
for
it.
observant archaeologists.
They
And
were every bit as smart as we are.
they did put too much butter on their popcorn, and that's why they went extinct. Okay, enough said. Yeah, you know, this is great. I'm really enjoying myself. Thank you. This is another song from my cowboy cycle of songs. And this particular song I'm borrowing from the lives of my matriarchal and my patriarchal grandpapas, and I've mushed them together into one character called the Cowboy from Boston. On my father's side, his name was O'Keefe, and he had to change it to Lee to escape from prosecution by the law, is the only way I can put that. And on my mother's side, well, he traveled all over the West, and as I say, stole all that money, and then ended up with no money at all. And after the war, My other grandfather was taught violin all through Texas and up into Oklahoma, and he traveled from town to town teaching violin to young girls and all that might entail, leaving behind him a trail of our ever-growing family, many of whom never even knew they were part of our ever-growing family. So I took these two interesting characters and I slung them together into this one song called The Cowboy from Boston, and here it goes. Well, he played an old fiddle made over in Europe, recited the poets and quoted the bards, rode out of the east on a sway Appaloosa. The cowboy from Boston with a sleeve full of cards, with a hey diddle ho riding high in the saddle, a pearl-handled pistol and a master's degree, come 3,000 miles to the streets of Seattle to wet his fine whistle on some fresh Chinese tea. East Coast goes west to meet Far East, you see. Now a good man or bad depends on just who is talking. He bluffed like a champion or he lied like a snake. The ladies all swooned when he twirled his mustaches. They snuck out the back door to bring him some cake, with a hey diddle ho riding over the prairie, fancy pants holsters, real silver spurs. The music he fiddled was so fine and airy, looking up in the sky he could name all the stars. He knew all his history and the generals and wars. Now he rode down the coast to the West Texas border, to the Mexican desert where the summer was fierce. He got all caught up in the good revolution. He fought at the side of an old man named Bierce. With a Viva Zapata he gave a loud holler, his gentleman's clothing all spattered with mud. He shot like a bandit, but he talked like a scholar. The cowboy from Boston, all hell-bent for blood. The cowboy from Boston won't come to no good. Well, not far from Houston, he stopped a stray bullet, and the last words he said lifted right off the page. It was something he'd learned from the poet of Avon. How all men are players and life is a stage. With a viva la vida, that was how fate had planned it. There's no one can say once that hand rolls the bones. He talked like a scholar, but he shot like a bandit. The cowboy from Boston laying under some stones. The cowboy from Boston come a long way from home. The cowboy from Boston come a long way.
I love all the imagery.
thank you
Me
so
too.
much.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really, just terrific. Well, I'm going to take you back. I wrote this song 8 years ago, but it's titled 5,775 Years. street. Sisters weep, fathers tear their clothes, wrapped in guilt and grief. Brothers mournful cries, they've all witnessed loves die. An eye for an eye, justice they still see. Oh, peoples of Jerusalem, take heed, oh celestial bodies warm. I fear history repeats itself, 5,775 years long. Peace and freedom, no time or season. Our collective conscience screams out in pain. Mankind seeks a voice of calm and reason. Endless killing is just insane. Oh, children of Jerusalem, take heed, oh celestial bodies warm. I fear history repeats itself, 5,775 years, way too long.
Great stuff.
Yes. That's there are no words. We were watching Wakanda Forever last night, and I was drifting a little bit because it was late, and it occurred to me, especially watching the end of it, everybody ends up on this planet coming from some kind of loss, and if it isn't the loss of the womb, it's something that happens soon afterwards. We ought to be kinder to each other. So this is off that track. This is every once in a while, and I've learned to do something about it right away, or it doesn't happen. Every once in a while, a song occurs to me as I'm sleeping, and will wake me up. And then there's that first few seconds where you go, "What a nice song," and then the next few seconds where you go, "It's yours. Get up and write it down, or it's going to be gone." So I have done that now a bunch of times, and I always hold my dream songs in special regard. But on this particular one, that one I did earlier, every now and then, that was a dream song. But on this one, I had a complaint, and here it is. In my dreams, I always remember the lyrics. And in my dreams, I never miss a note. I can make the rosewood ring, my fingers flying over the strings. In my dreams, I notice the kind words more than the harsh ones. And in my dreams, sorry, and joys more than complaints. And I always seem to know what I can change and what I must let go. In my dreams, awake, I've a memory like a sieve. I'm impatient with those I love, and I often forget to forgive. Awake, I am bound by gravity. I take each step cautiously, and I treat love like a liar and a thief. But in my dreams, I can fly around the universe, and in my dreams, I never have to land. And I'm wise beyond my years, and brave beyond even my greatest fears. In my dreams, guess I'll have to work on me to make my real life more like the life I see in my dreams.
Wow, that's a really touching song.
That is.
That's just beautiful. That's just.
Did you get the melody in your dream too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Dream songs. I keep a dream journal because I have bizarre dreams. And this song came on my 50th birthday, which is hard to believe was now 74 years ago. No, 24 years ago. One of the things that goes is your ability to do math on the fly. It's one of the first things that happens. But anyway, when I was a kid and we were living briefly in Dallas, Texas, my grandmother, on my mother's side, her third husband named Joseph, she collected Josephs, passed away, and it was thought that at 10 years old, if I jumped on a bus and went to Oklahoma to hang out with her, they'd give her something to do and take her mind off her sadness. So I got on the bus, and I was a 10-year-old kid, and it was a great little journey. In Texas at night, as you know, can be very, very cold, and it was just one of those nights when that part of Texas, just endless plains with the strange bobbing ducks going for the oil. It's kind of surrealistic. And I remembered that for a long, long time. And I remember pressing my cheek to the glass and looking up at the moon, which seemed to be following me as it does. And then I forgot that moment. And then on my 50th birthday, I was living upstairs in an apartment in Brooklyn. And it was a ridiculous apartment because it was the top floor of a building. And even though it was February and it was 18 degrees below zero outside, I had to keep the windows open because it was so hot in the apartment. So I couldn't sleep, and I went to the window and I looked up in the moon. It was the same old moon. I don't know what I expected to have happened to it, but there it was. And I did drift to sleep. And I had this dream about the 10-year-old boy that I was and the 50-year-old man that I was, and how all of the things that happened in between are like the architecture of your life. All the moments tied together. And so I wrote this song, and this is called Little Finnegan. You're a bus driver bound from the lights of the city to the quiet of little towns lost in the night. Exits and off-ramps and neon-lit diners, and the bright eyes of rabbits like stars at the roadside. And the radio reminds us of all that's behind us, and your poor eyes are dazzled by the oncoming lights. The white line goes through you, and you don't know now, do you, why the good folks won't turn down their brights. Through the long night, the dark traffic sighs. What color are the bus driver's eyes? There once was a maiden who escaped from her tower by cutting off all of her beautiful hair, and weaving a ladder she climbed down the bower and ran off and left not a note on a chair. There was an old farmer who traded his best cow for a hand-scribbled map and an old rusty key. The little dog wept just to hear such a tale, and the tears that he offered would fill up the sea. Through the long night, the dark traffic, and the night driver ferries our souls. Are we almost there yet? And why is the rain wet? And who spilled the stars on the velvety deeps? Look up out your window and watch the moon follow. Little Finnegan can't get to sleep. Little Finnegan can't get to sleep. So be a good fellow, come and waltz with the widow. Little Finnegan can't get to sleep.
Nice.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
We are at the 15-minute mark, and I'm inclined to run a little bit over. Is that okay with everyone?
Fine with me. I'm having a gas of a time listening to you lovely ladies and hanging out with you.
Likewise.
So it's fine
Okay,
with me.
so let's
So what are
make
you
this.
thinking? Are you
Let's
thinking
make this the second to last round and then do one more round beyond it. Because the difference between this and a bricks and mortar stage is nobody's waiting for this stage.
We're free.
Now I'm like, what do I want to give to you? Well, I think I'll give you this. I think we all did a little pandemic writing. This is one of my pieces. I actually started to go back to the piano more. You know, when I'm playing out, it's a little hard to lift the piano and put it on my back and play outside at a festival. So it's kind of been a joy for me to get back to my original, you know, who I was. This is a song called Ember, and I truly believe that, although some of you may perceive it as such, but I look at it as optimism. Feel the cold weight of winter crushing in. The bleakest time I've ever known. Such tragic loss of lives and loves and kin. Just when I'm feeling this world is doomed, well, I look up and see the light of the moon in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the strife. I reach deep into the darkness until I find the light. It may be just a flicker, it may not blaze hard white, but even the smallest ember can illuminate the night, can heavy my heart, troubled, 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 troubled my soul. Plunged into darkness, the longest short days. On the horizon I see light through the haze. In the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the strife, I reach deep into the darkness until I find the light. It may be just a flicker, it may not blaze hot white, but even the smallest ember can illuminate the night. Frozen tears stuck to my cheeks, express the words I dare not speak. Our way of life is past and gone. Oh, I know I must be strong if I'm to carry on in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the strife. I reach deep into the darkness until I find the light. It may be just a flicker, it may not blaze hot white, but even the smallest ember can illuminate the night, can illuminate the night, can illuminate the night.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Mind there. My mind substituted knife for light.
Okay.
Well, how murderous of you, Rick. So I'm going to also do a piano, which doesn't get to come out as much as it would like for the same reason. It's heavy. The one that I like to play the most weighs as much as I do, and I can get it off the floor, but I can't get very far with it without a dolly. I have a lighter one, but it's not anywhere near as satisfying a sound. But it does have the advantage of having its own onboard speaker, so that helps. Anyway, this is dedicated to the lot of you. Old friends, they call you on the phone sometimes, or they show up on your doorstep and say, remember when? Unpack their adventures, hang them in the closets of your heart. Old friends, they write their letters years too late, but you write back anyway. They wake you late at night, calling from the airport in between flights. I used to worry everyone was leaving and soon they'd all be gone. But I was wrong, 'cause life went on. Sooner or later, they all came home. Old friends, no one could measure or compare the treasure of these memories we share. And I will always care for old friends. and there will always be a place for old friends. Ooh.
I'm not going to call myself an old friend, but I will call myself a dear friend.
Yes.
And you
that's
are my dear friend. So thank you. That was really lovely. Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, really touching.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it for new friends.
Yes.
And new friends.
Yes, for all friends.
When I started running an open mic in the West Village, I had a lot of old friends showing up at the open mics. Is my sound okay, by the way?
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, great. Because, from the days in the 60s when we first showed up, just all these lovely people, and they were still in the village trying to survive the difficult housing market there.
Where were you in the 60s? Where were you running an open mic?
I wasn't running an open mic. I was playing at open mics. I lived in the West Village on Thompson Street, McDougal Street. I played at Gertie's Folk City. I played with a fast folk consortium up in the 1980s. I had a band called Richard, Cam, and Bert. We were very, very popular in the West Village.
Yes, you were. You played at the Gaslight where I worked. Yeah, I worked there 68, 69, and part of 70.
I'll be darned. How could I possibly even forget you? And yeah, that was us. You might be. The other two fellows are alive and kicking.
Oh, that's great to hear.
And somebody's putting together a whole program about us, which we're going to be hearing more about sometime in the next month or so. And hopefully, I mean, Richard lives up in Bellingham, Washington, and Cam lives in Hawaii. Wow.
Wow.
Did you know Jim Glover by any chance?
Of Corner Glover and Ray?
It was Glover, and it would have been Gene and Jim. Jim Glover and Gene. Jim and Gene. They were in the movie about, Greenwich Village in the 60s and that whole thing.
That movie
and Jim lives here.
Oh, I see. I just found that movie online. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a lovely film.
And you'll see an auto harp in there, although they don't.
There you go. Yeah, well, now we've dated ourselves pretty seriously.
Yes, we have.
We're of the same ilk.
Yes.
I'm not an elk. I'm sorry.
He's a deer.
Oh, God.
Not an elk.
Oh,
I'm going to be quiet now.
Okay, this is just a straightforward country song. Yeah, because there's all this stuff. This thoughtful stuff is starting to get to me. I'm going to be ornery for a minute here. This tune is called "The Blackbird and the Scarecrow." Blackbird sitting on a fence post, laughing like he knows some kind of joke. I fail to see what's so funny. My whole world just went up in smoke. Won't you let me in on the joke? Scarecrow dancing in a cornfield, dancing while the wind blows him around. Sometimes I feel like that scarecrow, watching over my dry patch of ground, while the wind just blows me around. There's a strange kind of music hangs in the breeze, like a song on a broken guitar. And those crows on a fence don't make any more sense than some crazy fools in a bar who sing a broke down honky-tonk waltz, a broke down honky-tonk waltz. Blackbird flies over to the scarecrow. It doesn't scare him a bit. It just sits on his shoulder to mock him and laughs at his own senseless wit. You know that scarecrow doesn't scare him a bit. Blackbird fly away from my shoulder, blues fly away from my heart. I've had this shadow upon me, darling, since we've been apart. Whoa, blues fly away from my heart. There's a weird melody that hangs in the breeze, like a calliope gone out of tune. And those crows sing a song that's all busted and wrong by the cold light of the old crooked moon. They sing a broke down honky-tonk waltz, a broke down honky-tonk waltz, a broke down honky-tonk waltz.
That was lovely.
Well, thank you.
If I closed my eyes, I heard a little bit of James Taylor and, and Willie and you.
I just want to be me.
But I think you may have been before all of them. So they just copied you. What can I say?
That's exactly right.
Right. So before I head into the next song, I had mentioned to you that my song "No More War Anymore," I'm a finalist for a peace group, and this is "No More War Anymore." And I'm not going to sing it tonight, but if you go onto my site, you will be able to hear it. You'll see the video. There was an article in Folk World this past summer, and I was in really good company. They gave me a full page on No More War Anymore. It was one of 12 recognized helping to raise some money for Ukraine. Although this project started before that, it was really just to help refugees. It could be refugees of war, it could be climate refugees, it could be political refugees. But Roseanne Cash was one of those 12. So I went, wahoo, that's the closest I have flown. Anyway, during the pandemic, by the way, there's a way for you to participate with No More War Anymore. So if you want to know more about it after you look at the site, contact me. I'd be delighted to have any or all of you participate in your own way. During the pandemic, I took part in many online things. One was the Wheatland Folk Festival. And I wrote to a prompt. I was given Beatrix Potter. And so I started rereading some of her stuff and looking at her biography. And what I realized, she was going through, all her characters were her family. She was really very lonely. And I could relate, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, what that felt like. So what came out is not really necessarily about Beatrix Potter, but this is what happens with songwriters. And this piece is called Not My Home. That's what I drew from it. This world is not my home, and I am lost without direction. I seek shelter from this storm, down on my knees praying for resurrection. Oh, this world is not my home. I am lonely, missing connection. I seek shelter heart for my protection. Our ways are torn and broken. Daily we battle for our lives. We must join hands and come together if we're going to survive. Oh gosh. Woo, it's been a while. Let's gather up all the pieces. Don't look back, just forge ahead. Plan, work, and strive to build a brighter future. One in which all our children can thrive in a better world. In a better world. This world is not my home. So much confusion and dissension. I seek shelter in my mind, but headlines command my attention. Oh, this world is not my home. Hunger gnawing throughout this land. I seek to shelter those in need. I cannot shore up this crumbling dam, 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 dam. Ooh, this world is not my home.
Wonderful, Eileen. So, I want to thank Eileen and Bert both. Eileen Kozloff, remember that name? How about a round of applause for... And Bert Lee, remember that one too. Thank you both for being here. Thanks for saying yes to this. I hope you will again. Should I call on you? For my last one, since you mentioned climate refugees, I've been working with somebody who takes our climate challenges very seriously indeed. He's very passionate about it. And I've written a bunch of songs for his online efforts. And this is my favorite one of the ones I've done for him. Magnetic fields fight their way across the skies and show us brilliant colors we call the northern lights. And we are all reminded the beauty we have here, how fortunate we are to have protective atmosphere. The home we share, the northern lights remind us, has water and air. The northern lights remind us that there is no guarantee, there's no guarantee. The northern lights remind us, the northern lights remind us. darkness into lights that dance above the planet and dazzle human eyes. And we are all reminded of vast eternity, how fortunate we are, however briefly, just to be. And the home we share, the northern lights remind us, has water and air. The northern lights remind us that there's no guarantee, there's no guarantee. The northern lights remind us, the northern lights remind us. It's a beautiful and deadly universe, and everything that we hold dear depends on our next choice. For though we send our rockets up to land on planet Mars, or lie back on the hillside to admire the stars, the northern lights remind us with their shimmering towers how fortunate we are to have this earth of ours. And the home we share, the northern lights remind us, has water and air. The northern lights remind us that there's no guarantee, there's no guarantee. The northern lights remind us, the northern lights remind us, the northern lights, the northern lights, the northern lights remind us.
Indeed, indeed. Jan, I just want to thank you for putting this together. You know, I probably would never truly have gotten to hear Bert, and I'm real groupie of his right now.
Yeah,
And
me too.
and it's great to hear, you know, for me, a new singer-songwriter, especially one that you can just hear in your music, your passion for the pen. And
Yeah.
very, very integrated. It's just, that was a treat, you know. I mean, Jan is always a treat for me to hear, but I've seen and heard Jan before.
Likewise. At the
What a
South
gem.
Florida Folk Festival.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, that's this weekend, and I think some of them are a little cold. So, someone had asked Jan, I think it might have been Andy Murphy, I think, asked if I could stay on for a bit more, just to, I'm not sure
I got
why,
that
but I'm
message
happy to
too.
do that.
Yes,
that message too.
Andy is my husband, and he's
Oh.
here with me. So, yes, I was going to ask if we could all uncloak to say goodbye,
Yeah.
and then I will stop live streaming and stop recording, and we can stay here and talk. So I'm in the process right at this moment of making everybody who's not going to be here jealous, but that means you'll come back. Once again, if you would like to be on this mailing list, please put your name and your email address in the chat or in the comments on the Facebook or YouTube pages that are running this, and come back on the 26th for more delightful songwriters. It's my extreme pleasure to present.
How sweet it is to have been here, and I'll stick around.
Oh, great. I have to say, in answer to your remark about being a groupie, that David Buskin used to say from the Gaslight stage that he had groupies, but they were folk groupies, and they'd make plaster casts of his arm and stuff like that.
David Buskin, huh? God, memories.
That's great. That's great. Well, audience, you were wonderful. Thank you for being here and
Thank you
taking
so
time out of your day to listen. Much
We are truly
appreciated.
international today because Janet is with us and she's about 30 miles south, north of Tel Aviv. So,
Oh,
Wow.
and when you stop this, I want to talk to her. I want to hear what's going on right now.
okay. So I'll stop